Good morning, friends. It's me and Teddy. Teddy? It is March 11th, 2022, and I am just sitting here in awe. I have had such an eventful morning. It is now 9 a.m. And I woke up this morning probably about 6 a.m. I had a pretty good sleep, and I woke up to Teddy came running downstairs and barking. I think he heard Christian leaving. I think Christian went to work this morning. Anyway, so I came downstairs and I started my morning meditation with God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And I was in the living room and I was looking around at things, and I just want to show you something. I was looking at this beautiful pair of my beautiful brother Rob. He just went to go be with the Lord 3 weeks ago now. Look at how he's looking at me. And look at my beautiful mom. This picture was in 1971. And it was only a couple months old here. I was in a foster home. My mom actually went to go put me up for adoption. And my biological father, Tata Tomo, he abandoned my mom. And my brother Rob was 3 years old here. Look how he's looking at me. And I see my mom, how strong, trying to put on a brave face, and probably so overwhelmed with so many emotions and the courage and the fear that she must have had. She was in a foreign country. She came to Canada, couldn't speak a lick of English, and she was pregnant when she came here. My real dad had sent for her to come here after he came here, and he was going to establish everything for her and my brother and me in Winnipeg. And she went to the Winnipeg airport, and then I don't know if she went to the airport or the train station. Anyways, and he never showed up. So she was there for 3 days, pregnant, and her and my brother Rob. And anyways, I don't know all the specific details, but anyways, she had been abandoned at the either airport or train station, there for 3 days, pregnant, ready to blow, and ready to give birth, I should say. Let's be proper. And my biological father didn't show up, and she met some people who helped her find a place to stay, and it was all through the Salvation Army. They had helped my mom secure a place. Anyways, she the things that she had to endure and go through, it's just so incredible and so courageous that my mom had to do some crazy incredible things. Anyways, and so she had no place to really stay for her and Rob for several months. But anyways, when she was in the hospital, she couldn't afford to keep me, and so she had excuse me, she was going to put me up for adoption, and there was a Slovenian nurse. And the Slovenian nurse, this is the story my mama told me. She said that she was crying when she gave birth to me because she couldn't keep me, and she was getting ready to sign the adoption papers, and the Slovenian nurse understood what my mom was saying, because she was saying, no, I don't want to give away my baby. I love my baby and all this. So, anyways, the Slovenian nurse explained to her about the fostering program that she could get me back when she gets established and secures a place to live and all that, that the fostering program is a temporary thing, not permanent like adoption, that, you know, that she could place me in a foster home until she established herself and Rob. And so, yeah, she put me in this fostering program, and like I can't even imagine what my mom went through. My mom was one of the most courageous, bravest, brilliant women I have ever known. What she had to endure. And when I look at that picture, I see the bravery of such an incredibly fierce warrior women that I've ever known. And when I see that picture, like my mom brought me home. She had an apartment. She got to get me out of the foster care program. And when I see Rob looking at me, oh, so this morning, as I was sitting in my living room, drinking my coffee, having my vitamins, and doing my alone time with God, prayers and meditations and gratitude, I was just so overwhelmed with gratefulness. My eyes just started spraying out water. They're so swollen right now. As I looked at that, and I was like, oh, Mommy, you are my number one cheerleader on the other side. But now you have to move over, because Rob's not number two cheerleader. He's sharing the number one spot with you as my number one cheerleader with you, Mommy. And I was just overwhelmed with gratitude for the cheerleaders on the other side. And my two biggest cheerleaders are my mommy and my beautiful brother Rob. And it overwhelmed me. And so I went and I took Teddy for a walk every morning. We have the same routine. I love routine. I'm a creature of habit. I love it. So every morning before I have to go to work or school or whatever I have to do, I take our garbage to the garbage dumpster. We walk to the mailbox. We walk around the neighborhood. Sometimes it's longer than others. Anyways, I went to the mailbox this morning, and in my mailbox I had this letter from the Joyce Meyer Ministries. Joyce Meyer is a Christian teacher and preacher, and I have a lot of her teachings. She went through a lot of similar things that I went through. Anyway, she's such a vulnerable, transparent teacher. And she shares her stories all the time. And anyways, I always open up her letters and I look at what the monthly resources are. And if I'm interested, I purchase them and I send a donation to her ministry. And this morning, and then, so there's always this leaflet, okay, and it's usually 4, 5, 6 pages, and I always set them aside. I hardly ever read them, and I always set them aside. I have a stack, like probably this thick, of her monthly newsletter with intention to read them, and I never read them. Okay, so anyways, this letter, I was walking back and I seen this creature on the side of the building where Teddy and I walk by, and as I get closer, I'm looking, and it's crawling from the top of this building. And it's like running around and around and around and around and around. And I'm like, wow, what is that? It's like it's got glue on its feet. How can it stay on the side of the building like that? And and move around like that. And as I get closer, I look and it's a mouse. And I'm like, ew, a mouse. I don't like mice. And um, I'm watching this thing, and it is it's crawling around on this building, and I'm like, wow, ew. But I'm totally intrigued by this mouse, so I'm watching it crawl, wondering how is it staying on the side of this building and not falling down. Anyways, it gets about a foot from the ground, and it just drops to the ground. It's a mouse, and I'm like grossed out but intrigued because I've never seen that. I've never seen a mouse crawling on the side of a building like that. It was fascinating, but gross at the same time. Anyways, I get home, I open up my Joyce Meyer newsletter. You're not going to believe this, but I just felt intrigued to read it. As I'm reading it, Joyce is sharing a story about fear and facing fear and doing it afraid. And fear, she's talking about how fear, fear is an emotion, but we can't let it hold us back from doing what God has set out for us to do. Just do it afraid, because we have God inside of us. And because we have God inside of us, that we're to still continue to do what God's called us to do, even though we have fear on the inside. But we're not supposed to listen to those feelings, and we're not supposed to let the feelings of fear dictate for us not to do something, because God is with us, and he's going to help us get to the other side because he's with us. So anyways, as I read this, and she's talking about a story about how she had there was a mouse in her bathroom, and she was 7 months pregnant, just about to enter into her 8th month. And there was a mouse in her bathroom, and she jumped up on the toilet seat with a toilet plunger, 7 months pregnant. And then she trapped that mouse under the toilet plunger, and then she locked the bathroom, and then she ran into the kitchen and ran up on the kitchen table, and she stood up on top of that kitchen table for 5 hours until her husband came home from work. And then when her husband came home from work, he went and he picked up the mouse and he put it outside, and it was this teensy tiny baby mouse. But yet she was so afraid, she risked her life and her baby's life jumping up on top of the toilet, jumping up on top of the kitchen table, because of this teensy tiny mouse that was totally harmless and couldn't harm her. But she let her fear override and dictate. So she followed those feelings of fear. So it was a lesson, a valuable lesson for her. So anyways, and she shared that in this newsletter, the newsletter that I never read. I don't know where the stack is. I think it's on top of my refrigerator, but I have her monthly newsletters. I've been subscribed to her for like 15 years. So honestly, I have hundreds of these newsletters that I have good intentions to read, but I never do. Yet today, I felt inclined to read this newsletter, and the newsletter was on a mouse, and the mouse that God had showed me today. Oh my gosh, I love how personal God is. He's so personal. I seek him out every single day. Every single morning, I need my alone time with my Heavenly Father. I value my alone time with him. He's so personal. He's so beautiful. He's so intimate. And he's so close. So today, my friends, I challenge you to spend that personal time with him alone. There's so many distractions, so many, honestly, that if you don't intentionally take that time to spend alone with him, that time escapes you and you get busy doing other things. Find a time that you can dedicate to him every single day. Every single day. This time here on earth is so quick. In the blink of an eye, it's gone. I look at my precious brother, 53 years young, and time is gone. So, every single day, intentionally, mindfully, set a time apart to spend that time with God, because he wants to be so close to you, just like he was today. Like, that's so beautiful. Ew, through a mouse. He revealed to me how close and intimate and personal he is. He's so beautiful. He's so beautiful. So just spend that time. I challenge you today. Spend that time each and every day with him. Okay? Have a blessed day, my friends. Love you. Bye for now.